All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome. We're gonna go ahead and start before we actually officially start the meeting, and we can have Ms. Hossel, Principal of Gillette Elementary, come forward and join us for the thought of the day and the Pledge of Allegiance. Yes,
Good evening, Board President Moreno, board members, Superintendent Soto, Cabinet. Bienvenidos a la Primaria Gillette. It is our honor to host our school board meeting this month. Quote of the day, the best leaders not only inspire us, they develop and empower us to lead with passion from whatever position we currently hold in life. Ty Howard. Today we have third grader Diego Manzanares, student of Mrs. Hernandez Cruz, leading our United States pledge, and second grader America Rodriguez, student of Mrs. Berenice Estrada, leading our Texas pledge in Spanish.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and stay standing for our Texas pledge led by America Rodriguez. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honra a la bandera de Texas. Te juro lealtad, Texas, un estado bajo Dios, uno invisible. Soy América Rodríguez, de parte de nuestra escuela. Gracias por su asistencia. Favor de tomar asiento.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please have a seat.
Thank you. Continuing on to item 2, meeting call to order, roll call and recording of board members present. We'll go ahead and call for roll call, please. All right, we can go ahead and close the vote. All right, I do declare a quorum. Again, it's 6:18 now. All board members present. Moving on to item number 6C, recording of superintendent and staff members present. Mr. Soto, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Board of Trustees, HISD Committee. At this evening, we have our Assistant Superintendent for Business and Finance, Mr. Richard Hernandez.
Here.
We have our Executive Director of Maintenance and Operations, Dr. Hinojosa.
Here.
We have our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, Ms. Casey.
Here.
We have our Executive Director of Human Resources, Dr. Salinas.
Here.
And we have our Public Information Officer, Ms. Mariana Viero.
Here.
All right, thank you and welcome again, everyone. If we could have, I believe, item 3 will be Mr. Hernandez. The board will conduct a public hearing regarding the district superior achievement rating on the financial integrity rating system of Texas for the 12 months ending June 30th, 2022. And Mr. Hernandez, whenever you're ready, sir. And again, I apologize. We do have Dr. Castleberry here with us as well. So I apologize, ma'am. Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Cavazos.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Mr. Soto, Superintendent, and guests. This evening, we are presenting the Financial Integrity Rating System of Texas. It's a requirement that we host a budget hearing or a integrity rating system hearing each year as a result to give the results of the first rating for 21-22. This is the 20th consecutive year that the district has achieved superior achievement rating. It's a rating that was created back in 2001 under the 77th legislature. There are four different ratings that are achieved either superior, above standard, standard, or substandard. The rating was designed to help improve management of school district resources by the staff. It also helps evaluates the financial health and stability and condition of the school districts. And TEA also uses it as a rating for school districts across Texas. I'm happy to announce that again, we received a superior achievement for the 21-22 school year. Our rating was a 94 out of between a range of 90 to 100. As part of the presentation of the first rating, we also have to include a management report providing a narrative of what the first rating is. And you'll find that on page 12 of your board book. But included in that management report will also provide any types of reimbursements to the superintendent or board members, which mainly consist of any travels, dues, or other types of district-related expenses. We also are required to report if there is any compensation received by the superintendent during that school year, which there were none. If there were any gifts received by superintendent or board members during that school year, and there were none. And any business transactions with related parties of district board members or a superintendent, which there were none as well in 21-22. Along with the requirement of first, we also are required to post the district's superintendent signed contract, which is on the district website. The first rating that is broken out is composed of 20 indicators. It's broken out in three main sections: critical indicators, fiscal indicators, and efficiency indicators. Indicators for critical 1 through 4 measure the present financial condition of the district. Mainly is the information is submitted timely. And most importantly, did the district receive a clean audit opinion from its auditors, which the district did. In addition, are our bond payments timely made, in which they are, and the terms are met? And also are timely payments made to TRS, the IRS, and the Texas Workforce Commission. There was an indicator 5 that used to be on the rating. Currently, it's not being utilized by TEA. The next set of indicators are what we call fiscal indicators. These are indicators 6 through 14. They measure the fiscal responsibility of the school district, and specifically indicator 6 measures the use of its fund balance. It looks over the 3 years if there was a decrease of more than 25%, which there wasn't. Indicators 7 and 9 measure the liquidity of the school district. Basically, does the district have enough cash on hand to sufficiently cover all of operating expenditures, which admit those ratings? Indicators 8, 11, and 12 measure whether the district has assets enough to cover its liabilities, both in the long-term and short-term liabilities, with a required percentage to the asset, and the district met that. Also, the states evaluates the debt of the school district as compared to the assessed property value ratio, which would affect support and future repayments. Included in this rating is also TEA's inclusion of the EDA, existing debt allotment, and instructional facility allotment payments that the district receives. Indicator 13 is measuring the administrative ratio of the school district. The district continues to achieve an administrative ratio that's less than the maximum allowed of 8.55. The district's administrative ratio was 6.98. The next indicators evaluate the efficiency of the school district, and these are indicators 15 through 20. 15 was not used this year due to it was a measurement by TEA of pupil projections. But as we know, in 21-22, there was some effect of COVID. So the TEA has paused that indicator. Indicator 16 measures our PEIMS reporting, which is critical not only in legislators' decision-making on reporting from school districts, but it also assists us whenever we do our budget planning. We fell within the accurate amount of less than 3% variance. 17 and 18 are another critical indicator as a result of our annual audit. Our auditors independently assess whether we are free of any material weaknesses in internal control and whether we are free of any non-compliance with local, state, and federal grants, which the district met those requirements. And the last two indicators, 19 and 20, again, whether the district has met all its required financial disclosures on its website and provided required information of property values during its budget process. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this concludes the presentation regarding our financial integrity rating system. And again, congratulations on this, on achieving the superior achievement for the school year 21-22. Be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you, sir. Any comments, clarification, or needed in regards to this presentation? No? Well, thank you, Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you.
And we'll move on to the next item. Oh, yeah, sure. Fabulous job. Thank you. Moving on to item number 4, public comment, and I believe, Ms. Juarez, we have no one that has signed up for it. Okay, so we'll proceed to item number 5, announcements, and Ms. Mariana. Mr. Soto?
Yes, sir.
Okay, whenever you're ready, ma'am.
Good evening. Our first slide is the ADA update that we also provide in your HH on a weekly basis. So I know you can't really see the screen, but if you have any questions, I can read the dates if you need them.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
do you mind?
No, of course
Okay,
not.
thank you so much.
I will start on, do you want me to start from, I have September 26th till now. Okay. So September 26th, our enrollment was 11,790. Our pre-K through 12th grade is 92.68%, and our pre-K is 92.39%. The next day was enrollment 11,803. Pre-K through 12th grade, 92.50%. Pre-K, 91.90%. Thursday, September 28th, 11,796 enrollment. Pre-K through 12th grade ADA 92.57%. Pre-K ADA 92%. Friday, September 29th, we have 11,796 enrollment. Pre-K through 12th grade ADA 90.42%, and then pre-K ADA 91.27%. October 2nd, which was that Monday, 11,809 enrollments, 91.06%, pre-K through 12th grade ADA, and then pre-K ADA 91.78%. The next day, 11,812 enrollment, 93.20% pre-K through 12th grade, and pre-K ADA 92.90%. The next day was Wednesday, October 4th, 11,816 was our enrollment. Pre-K through 12th grade ADA 91.18%, pre-K ADA 91.33%. The Thursday, October 5th was 11,809 enrollment. Pre-K through 12th grade 90.54%, pre-K ADA 89.27%. Then last week, October 10th, Tuesday was 11,821 enrollment. Pre-K through 12th grade ADA 91.51%, pre-K ADA 89.77%. Wednesday was 11,821 enrollment. Pre-K through 12th grade 92.31%, and pre-K ADA 90.37%. Thursday, 11,826 enrollment. Pre-K through 12th grade ADA 91.48%, and pre-K ADA 90.35%. And Friday of last week was 11,826 enrollment. Pre-K through 12th grade ADA 86.83%, and pre-K ADA 84.27%.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mariana.
No problem.
Mr. Soto?
Mr. Chair, Board of Trustees, looking at these numbers, there is a drop in enrollment, about 300, a little bit over 300 children. It's evenly split, about 150 in the elementaries and about another 150 on the secondary. But I want to commend the principals because our attendance has went up. We were bordering 89% last year, and majority of our campuses are over 91%.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Ortiz.
Mr. Soto, is the increase in enrollment or attendance, is that a result of our PEMS clerks following up with our parents? Or do we have a specific way that we're pushing that? Like, for instance, I know that East Central has hired 2 former administrators. That's all they do is track down the kids that aren't attending school. And I'm wondering, do we have any kind of that effort other than, at the end of the school year, if the attendance has gone up? I'm just wondering, this increase, this little uptick, is it some effort, extra effort that we're doing at the campuses?
Great question, Ms. Ortiz. At one point, Harlandale had an attendance VP in the secondaries. And it basically said if we would increase, what was it, Mr. Hernandez, 1%, it would pay for that position.
That's correct.
Well, we found out it was when COVID hit, the attendance bottomed out. And so now we made it as a collective team effort. So each principal has a plan. They have brainstormed with each other. Majority of them have a sheet that is tracking more the kids. So, seeing if there's a pattern to the children's absences. What we do see is Mondays and Fridays is the biggest day that the children are out or after a holiday. But each campus has a team assigned to track these children.
Thank you, ma'am. Continuing on. or-
Sure. And then, of course, this month, October, is National Principals Month. So we want to recognize our wonderful principals that are every day working hard at our schools. I do want to introduce them. They're here tonight, and I do want to introduce them by name and by school. So we have Ms. Holterman from Adams Elementary, Dr. Joyner from Bel Air Elementary, Ms. Lozano from Collier Elementary, Ms. Wing from Gilbert Elementary, but she couldn't be here with us tonight. Ms. Hasso from Gillette Elementary, Ms. Trevino from Schultz Elementary, Ms. Garcia from Stonewall Flanders Elementary, Ms. Morales from Vessel Elementary also couldn't be with us tonight. Ms. Rayleigh from Wright Elementary, Mr. Martinez from Harlandale Middle School, Ms. Gimbel from Kingsborough Middle School, Ms. Garcia from Leal Middle School, Ms. Charles from Terrell Wells Middle School, Mr. Dominguez from Harlandale Alternative Center, but he couldn't be here with us tonight. Ms. Sons from STEM Early College High School, Mr. Salinas from McCollum High School, Mr. Salmon from Harlandale High School, and Mr. Garcia from Frank Head Academy. Again, we want to thank them for everything that they do for our students and for our family. And I just have a few important dates, reminders. We have the Harlandale Education Foundation Golf Tournament next week, October 26th, which is a Thursday at 8 a.m. at Breckenridge Golf Course. We also have our Veterans Day ceremony next Friday, October 27th at Memorial Stadium, starting at 6:30 p.m. Our Hall of Fame banquet, which will be Thursday, November 2nd at 5 p.m. at McCollum High School. Our Hall of Fame ceremony, which will take place November 4th at 4:30 at Memorial Stadium, the day of the Frontier Bowl. And then, of course, the 60th Frontier Bowl, November 4th at 7 p.m. at Memorial Stadium. And that's all I have. I don't know if you have any questions.
Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed? No? Okay, great. Thank you, Ms. Mariana. And just to confer with, in conferring with Mr. Soto, he did agree that we'll go ahead and let our principals go. Thank you for all you do for our kids and all the great things that you guys are putting forth, especially when it comes to attendance, because I see that all throughout social media. So I'm not opposed to a pajama day either. So let's whatever makes it work. So thank you guys. And on behalf of the board, we applaud you and we salute you. So as the team moves out, moving on to item number 6, individual reports, accountability 2023 status, Mr. Soto.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Board of Trustees, at this time, Mr. Littlefield will be doing a presentation.
Good evening. I'll give you a spoiler alert. There is none. So back on September the 12th, TEA sent out to an administrator address correspondence, basically indicating that scores would be delayed. And at that time, they indicated that it was due to issues that were coming up in domain 2A and domain 3. They anticipated that they would need only 1 month. So as of this morning, there's still no update on this. On September the 19th, a week later, the TAG group met, and that is the Texas Accountability Advisory Group. It's comprised of 21 members from across the state, and their objective was to review preliminary 2023 growth data and then gather feedback on potential adjustments. So here's what happened. There are 2 graphics here. One is the scale that we used from 2018 to 2022. And basically what that did was it indicated what your score in growth had to be in order to get each one of those letters. So if you got an 82 score, raw score on growth, that translated to an A, a 90. And then a 64 would translate to a 60, a D. So basically they curved the grades. When they first released the preliminary accountability manual, they came up with this 2023A, the initial proposed. And when we first looked at it, we thought, okay, that's not too bad. It's going to be a little bit harder to get an A. It's going to be slightly harder to get a B, and C and D pretty much stayed where it was. However, there was a wrinkle that wasn't accounted for. In 2020, STAR was canceled. 2021, we had over half of our students sitting at home, and strangely enough, the STAR scores tanked completely. STAR 2022, students are now back in the classroom, and lo and behold, scores rose tremendously, and there was tremendous growth. TEA kind of thought that that growth would continue. And the problem is it didn't. They knew it wouldn't be as good as it was from 21 to 22, but they thought it would still be high. It wasn't. So at that meeting, what was presented to the TAG was this 2023B conversion. And so basically what they did is they looked at the data once again, and they said, okay, where should an A be? Where should a B be? Where should a C be? And where should a D be? You will notice that they are actually lower than what was done previously. There's a reason for that, and that's this next graph. If you look at it from 2017 up to 2019, things were very consistent. 2022 comes around, and all of a sudden, 75% of the campuses are getting A's and B's in growth. Of the elementary campuses are getting A's and B's in growth. So that's when they set the scale, and then all of a sudden, before they released the report, They noticed, wow, 59% of the schools now have either a D or an F. So what they did was they reset the cut points so that it would look closer to what was going on in 2017, 18, and 19. So that last bar, the 2023, if the proposed cuts are adopted, now the percentage of campuses getting an F in growth is down to 15%, which is more in line with what had been going on in the past. All of that is sort of the reason why this delay has taken place. They did the same thing with middle school and with high school. And instead of going through all those individuals, you can kind of, take a look at it. You'll notice that high school was not nearly as impacted by COVID as elementary and middle schools were. We saw that in our data as well. For whatever reason, the EOCs just continued to keep on doing what they were doing, which was good. Because growth is part of domain 3, any changes that are made to growth calculations in domain 2A will have sort of a ripple effect into domain 3. So basically, TEA was looking at what should those cut scores be as well. Domain 3 is rather complicated, but the main part of it is that growth makes up 50% of that domain for both the elementary and the middle schools. It's not as large of a factor as high schools, but for elementaries and the middle schools, it really does become a make or break. I have not seen any type of report that indicates what those cut scores are going to look like. So I think that is what is still causing the delay. So that's where we are. Are there any questions?
Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this? I know for some of it was a little difficult to see. I'm not quite sure if it was placed in our drive or not, but I know you did a good job, Mr. Littlefield, in trying to explain it with the lack of information, unfortunately. Ms. Cavazos, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Littlefield. I understand what you said. I'm trying to process it. What I can't understand, and you may, because you're smarter than I am, why the delay? Is the delay, I can't help but think that the delay is not because they're gathering more information, or they're gathering information that can describe a better picture. But because we will find it more difficult to tweak what we are currently doing to make our children successful when we don't have enough time to.
So I wouldn't presume to speak for TEA, of course, but I will tell you that the process that they're going through does also allow for public comment. So any changes that they do put forth is opened up for public comment as well. So that is part of it. I think, the work that they presented to the group a week after their announcement kind of told me that, somebody at TEA had noticed that there was a problem. And, may have taken a little bit of time to get the message through, but finally got it through in terms of, if we keep this, then, 40% of our elementaries are going to get an F on this particular domain. So I think at that point, that's where the pause was placed. And, from then on, I really can't tell you, what they've done in the 3 weeks since, but I do know that, it's a continuing issue.
Should I assume that no news is good news? And by that, I mean that it is moving along as far as getting these scores or these rubric to where it best will suit each student and its campus?
So what we have done as a district is we've really taken sort of that preliminary information that we had, and we started acting upon that. One of the things that has come through with our work with the Effective Schools Framework is we can't really wait until we have an answer. So, the principals, when I met with them, part of our discussion was you assume that you're going to enter into the Effective Schools Framework. And with that is, step one, a self-evaluation. So, start going through your campus evaluation, and many of the schools have already started that, looking at the procedures, looking at, their level of instruction and all of that. So we have opted not to necessarily wait for TEA to come up with the answers. Instead, we're just going to go ahead and get started on it. And then whichever campuses, this falls under, then they'll already have the work started.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. So any other comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this piece of information? And I did want to share with the team, and I apologize, I should have looked at it myself prior. But we do have access to all the necessary data announcements. Mr. Littlefield's presentation, it's within our folders at the bottom. We just have to go underneath it and stick it out and pick it and click on it. So I apologize for not clarifying that for the team. Is there anything in particular, anyone had any questions or clarification needed on this piece? And thank you, Mr. Littlefield. I know it's kind of a subjective question, but we do appreciate you guys doing the work. I know we're just at the mercy of TA when it comes to data in this regard. Mr. Soto, anything further on this? Okay. So moving on to the next piece then. The board will be presented the school safety audit for September 2023, and I think that will be in
Dr.
close,
Nosa?
or are we gonna have a presentation? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And we'll have another one in closed session.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So whenever you're ready, Dr. Nosa.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Soto and Mr. Moreno, and members of the board. So for tonight, we're just going to really present some data from the safety audits that we've had, and then we will have that some items, some information that we will share in closed session. But for this month starting in September, Mr. Soto was notified that the safety audits were going to start taking place on the campuses. And those started at the end of last month and have gone through this month. And so we're happy to say that we've had 5 audits up to this point. Frank De Heda Academy, STEM, Harondo High School, Gilbert Elementary, and Terra Wells Middle School. And of those 5 audits, all of them came back with no findings, which is a perfect score for each campus. So we want to congratulate the campuses for the diligent work that they're doing. And so we are asking all of our schools to stay vigilant with the door sweeps and the safety audits, and Mr. Forestier, our EMO, and with PD and the campus officer, they make sure that they are doing the daily door sweeps and maintaining, just a watchful eye to make sure that we are continue to stay in compliance. But we are extremely proud of those 5 schools, and we look forward to the same type of findings or no findings at our other campuses.
All right, thank you, sir. And we'll go ahead and obviously discuss whatever we need to further in close. So moving on to next item, unless there was any comments or concerns or clarification needed on that piece. No, okay. Moving on to consent. Is there a motion for items A through H?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms. Cavazos.
I move to approve consent items A through H.
All right, we have a motion to approve items A through
I
H.
second.
We have a second by Ms. Ortiz, so we'll go ahead and call for the vote. And the voting is open. Mr. Luna? We can go ahead and close the vote. All right, so the motion carries, all eyes on there. So moving on to the next item, which is individual items, discussion regarding district policy GKD legal and local. Do I defer to Mr. Soto or to Mr. Resendez?
Yes, Mr. Chair, working with our legal, if we can turn to page 46 in your board book so we can see the supporting documentation, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Resendez.
Thank you, sir. So page 46, 47 and 48 actually, and then 49. If you look at 49, Roman numeral 15, that's the disclaimer that we talked about. And you'll see in highlights and it'll be bold. It's in red right now. This event is not a district sponsored, endorsed or partnered event. The district is not affiliated or supporting this event in any way. And we're asking that if they agree to use our facilities, that they agree to put this disclaimer on any and all advertising, whether it's internet, in writing. And then you'll see some more writing. We went ahead and took the liberty of tightening up the facility use agreement just to protect the district a little bit more. And a lot of it really just follows policy, but we want to make sure that they're aware of, if they do any damage, they pay for it. If something happens, if we need to terminate it for whatever reason, there are facilities. So it just gives the district a little bit more flexibility with what we're doing. But this applies to anybody who requests to use our facilities. And that's kind of what the superintendent is looking at. But the main one is, again, Roman numeral number 15. And this is really for just reporting to y'all. Administratively, your superintendent has a final authority to finalize the policy. The agreement, as long as it follows our policy, and it does. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. So is there any motion, or did we want to motion to discuss, or?
Well, no motion to approve or anything, because your administration will make the final decision
Okay.
on making sure. But we did have it here to discuss if anybody wants to discuss anything or has any questions for me or Mr. Soto.
All right. Any comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this particular individual item? Ms. Cavazos?
Can I just have like half a minute? Let me just scroll some. I wanted to just read something real quick.
Sure. You can have a minute or two to peruse. And then if you have something to share, you guys are more than welcome to. So please bear with us, y'all. Thank you.
I've read it already. The liability, I just wanted
Go
to
ahead,
make
Ms.
sure.
Cavazos.
No, I wanted to make sure that because these events will not be district related events or sponsored by the district, we also had a stipulation about the district shall not have liability on any situation or failure that might occur. So it's in there. Yes, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Any other comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this individual item? Okay, so I think based off of what we provided in terms of guidance for our superintendent and Mr. Resendez, I think it fits the need of what the team was requesting. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr.
my
Lu.
only question is that in the final policy, this gonna be reflected in that policy? Or just gonna be referred to?
The policy refers to an agreement, and this is the agreement that it refers to.
Okay,
Yes, yes.
thank you.
All right, fair enough. Any other concerns, clarification needed?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Ms.
does
Carrillo.
this also go for like the band boosters as well? Does this fall under that as well?
So anytime they request to utilize a facility, for example, a meeting, they should follow this process, or is this more of a specific event?
Well, this is for any entity or organization wants to use district facilities. We have to be consistent. I'm not sure how we're doing it with the band boosters now, but I would imagine they should, but.
Mr. Soto, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Good question, Ms. Carrillo. Well, we have organizations that use it that are affiliated with our schools, right? And so the ones that are affiliated with our schools don't have to really put that disclaimer because they are affiliated with our schools. These are some of the outside entities that are not affiliated with Harlandale that are using our facilities that are going to have to use this disclaimer.
Thank you, sir.
And I think they would still have to follow this procedure. If, say, for example, a booster group, whether it's cheerleading, spirit team of any sort, we're trying to have like a festival or an event of that magnitude. It's more so like for that activity. I think that's more or less what Ms. Scudia was referring to as well. Okay. Comments, concerns, or clarification needed on this item? Okay, thank you. So moving on to item 9, convening closed session as authorized by Texas Government Code chapter 551, sections 551.071 through 551.084, items A through D. Do we have a motion to convene in closed session?
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Ortiz,
Yes, I move that we convene in closed session as authorized by the Texas Government Code, chapter 551, sections 551.071 through 551.084 to discuss items 9A through 9D.
thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, a second by Ms. Cavazos, so we'll go ahead and call for the vote. Is now open. All right, we can go ahead and close the vote. All right, motion passes, all ayes. It is now 6:55 and we are now convening closed session. Thank you.